Okay, here we are. We're in week 3, and first I'd just like to say that, of course, starting this week or continuing on this week, there's a little mini lecture, and then there's actually an activity quiz that goes with it, very much like the one in the first chapter. And so, but the key thing here is there's an assignment that has 2 parts to it, and it has to do with Bronfrenbrenner. And there's another tutorial, another little short lecture on Bronfrenbrenner, but I want to bring up several things here in this opening um, little video about Bronfrenbrenner, because a lot of the class is really based on his theories of the ecological systems approach, which in the later years he called the bioecological systems approach, because he started to recognize the importance of physical development. But it's the systems theories which you read about in your textbook. I will refer to Bronfrenbrenner throughout the semester, so I just want to give you some information that will help you on the assignment. So the assignment has 2 parts to it. One is just an activity, so you can do it as many times as you need to get 100%. You need to get 100% on that part of the assignment for the second part to open up, which is a quiz, and you will only have one opportunity to finish the quiz. Realize that there's 2 parts there, and you have to get the first part done in order to get the second part done. So if you have any problems with the first part, be sure that you contact myself or one of my TAs to help you with what the situation might be. So Bronfrenbrenner, Yuri Bronfrenbrenner, died not too long ago, had a little bit of a different approach, which I'll talk about to development, as I'll talk about in the other video. But I want to go over the major systems in his theory very briefly. The other will go into them as well. So here we go. The microsystem, this is what you live in, the activities, roles, and interpersonal relationships experienced by the person in a face-to-face setting. So in other words, your microsystem is your home, primarily. The university, if you're coming here and taking classes, that would be another. If you go to work, that would be another. It's a place where you have interactions with other people, which he classified as bidirectional. In other words, you're influencing the other people, they're influencing you. You're influencing the environment is influencing you. So your microsystems change through the course of your life. Some of them kind of continue on, but others you move on. So in other words, you might have grown up living with your family in your family home, and now you live apart from your family. You might live with roommates, or you have started your own family. So these are constantly in transition and changing. So the next one is the mesosystem, and this is the one that sometimes students have the hardest time with. This is 2 microsystems that interact with each other, so and play off each other and influence each other. There's a bidirectional influence again. So you are a university student right now, so maybe your university work is changing the way that you interact with people in your home. So in other words, I have a lot of homework to do, so I'm sorry I can't do this with you guys. Sometimes things that are happening at home are affecting what's happening at school. All of a sudden somebody's sick, or you're sick, or whatever, and that influences how you're doing in school. So these are 2 microsystems, okay, that are now coming together and influencing each other. So I'm sure that you have several of those in your life. The third one is the exosystem, and what this is there's a linkage between 2 or more settings, and the key part here is at least one of which does not orderly contain the developing person. Okay, so in other words, say you have a significant other that lives with you, and you like to spend a lot of time together. However, all of a sudden your significant other at work is required to spend more time at work. And all of a sudden that is affecting your time together. Well, you're not involved in that work setting, but it is affecting you. So it's something outside of yourself that's playing a role in how you're actually living your life. So I know in the other video I'll talk about maybe the university system. It plays a role. It decides which classes you're going to take. But yet you still influence the university. And the government and so forth. So these are things that are affecting our lives, but we don't really play a significant role in them. So like I say, the real good example is sometimes we like to spend time with other people, but things that are outside of our personal life are playing a role in how we relate to that person. A macro system, really simply put, is your culture, okay? And your culture is what gives you your beliefs, your values, how you're supposed to live your life, how you're supposed to relate to other people, and so forth. So it could be socioeconomic. In other words, I'm from this socioeconomic strata, or this one, low, medium, high. It could be I'm from a single parent family. Could be an example of a cultural influence. The United States is a cultural influence because we live in a culture that kind of says to be an individual is important rather than a collectivist idea, but maybe you are from a collectivist culture and the we is more important than the we, or the me, I'm sorry. And so these things are influencing how we basically believe our lives should be conducted, what are the values that we hold dear? Is it, where did you get the value that it's important to get an education? Okay, so they're listed down here at the bottom, which certain things could be. And the last one is the chronosystem. A lot of times we talk about chronology. In other words, you're 16 years old and you get a driver's license. You know, these types of things that we talk about that are very age related. When you're in your 40s, you're in middle adulthood. Those types of things. A chronosystem is Bronfrenbrenner came to believe, this was a system that was added later in his theory, that there are points in a person's individual history that plays a role in their development. So in other words, when I moved to Alaska, that was a big thing in my life. When I got married, that was a big moment in my life. When I had my children, those were big moments. That really played a role, played an influence in how my life is playing out. So you're going to be asked about all of this in, first of all, the activity, and then on the quiz. And so hopefully you do well. I would suggest maybe you watch the other short little tutorial on Bronfrenbrenner, and I think that hopefully by the end you have a real deep understanding of Bronfrenbrenner and his theory. Okay, so I hope everybody does well, especially on the assignments and the quizzes. So if you have any questions, please let me know.